How is everybody on this fine Thursday? Chris Brown, Steve Tasker with you. One Bills Live, coming to you live from Bills training camp at St. John Fisher. Day 2 of camp is in the books. Practice on the field this morning from 9:45 until about 11:30 or so. And a lot of teamwork today. Middle of the field, mostly. And a fair amount of first, second down stuff. And I would say there were some things that I noticed. I can share those with you momentarily, Steve. But what flies out of the top of your head here at first blush from today's practice?
Offense still looks to be finding itself there. They've got, figuratively speaking, it feels like to me that Joe Brady and the offensive staff have got test tubes out, and they're pouring this into that and that into this, and they really look like they're experimenting with matchups and personnel groupings, and I don't even know what they call some of them, because the way they're using guys is really innovative. I think we didn't see this last year, and I think it's an indication of it's good, no question, because they got a lot of talented guys and they're looking really good offensively. But I think it's also like we don't know exactly what we've got here. We're going to find out what tools we can exploit.
Yeah, we heard Joe Brady talk this morning as he addressed the media, and he was asked about how his receivers are taught to learn the offense. And he said nobody learns this offense as a quote-unquote X receiver or a Z. They learn it as, in totality, the concepts. So they learn in a concept-based way, not a singular position way, because at any given moment they could line up anywhere across the formation in any one of those receiver roles, and they have to know what the concept is. So if they line up in the slot, outside the numbers, in the backfield, they know what they're executing.
The reason for that is because if you get a defense that you get a handle on how they're adjusting to your offense, you can have a play. Obviously, you can have any player you want line up anywhere you want against any defensive player you want, and thereby winning a matchup. That's the idea. And they do the little puzzle of when they get into a game and they see the defense adjust, they can get out ahead of it and say, okay, if they're doing that, then let's run this play up here in the next couple of plays where we're going to get our guy Kincaid on their guy Joey Bag of Donuts, and Joey Bag of Donuts didn't have a chance. So that's how they do it. And so they're going to find out they want all the guys to be able to line up wherever they want them to line up without having maybe run through a rep in practice.
As far as what I saw out there today, I thought it was a productive day for both Mack Hollins and Curtis Samuel in the passing game. They were frequent targets of Josh Allen. On occasion when they ran with whoever ran with Mitch Trubisky, they were a frequent target of him as well. And Samuel had a long touchdown. It was a catch and then a run. That was good to see. And I know it's only 2 days, Steve. Keon Coleman is getting a ton of snaps.
Yes,
a ton.
Yes,
and it's not unlike what we saw last year with Dalton Kincaid being thrust into the lineup and given a boatload of reps early. It was evident last year they wanted to get Dalton Kincaid up to speed as quickly as possible because they had already made the determination this guy is going to be a part of our offense right out of the chute. I think they've got the same plan in mind for Keon Coleman here based on some of this action that we're seeing him get now early.
It still took Kincaid a long time, and we've been talking about how long it took him to get acclimated into the offense, and it took an injury to Dawson Knox to do that. There's no Dawson Knox standing in front of Keon Coleman this year. I mean, the deck's clear because of the departures of Diggs and Davis. So the path is more clear for Keon Coleman to get on the field faster than Kincaid was able to make it happen last year. But you're right. I mean, it's not going to be for lack of reps. He's getting a lot of field time. They're using him like they use everybody else. He seems up to it. It doesn't seem big for him. He's competing at a high level all the way across the board wherever they line him up. It's been fun to watch. And you're right. It has been interesting because, we've been talking about these guys ever since he got drafted.
Yeah.
And now it's not just you and me watching. There's like 3,000 people over here, and everybody's watching the kid play. So I'm with you. I think they've got plans for him.
Yeah. And again, it's only 2 days, but they were force-feeding Dalton Kincaid reps last year at this time. Granted, he didn't get a ton of time on the field at the outset of the season, but to Steve's point, Knox was here. And then come the second half of the season when Knox was hurt, he just took off. He was ready to step in. To Steve's point also, there's nobody in front of Coleman per se.
Right.
So if he's ready and he proves himself capable, he's going to be out there early and often. I will say this. I have come to the conclusion that I underestimated Mack Hollins' level of athleticism. For a tall, big receiver, he has more athleticism, just generally speaking, than I gave him credit for. There's some suddenness to his game, which you don't always expect from a 6'4" receiver. Agile in the air, has body control, can change his body to reach a football. So because of that, his catch radius is enormous, and he's got some wiggle to him after the catch if he wants to shake a defender that's, trying to mirror him and make a tackle. So I know it's only 2 days again. We're still not in pads. I think I underestimated Mack Hollins' level of athleticism.
Yeah, it's interesting, too, because we go through this every year. You kind of forget how this goes, but you have good days by the offense, good days by the defense, and we tend to read into all of those, of generalizations. And then also the media, every morning they get a chance to talk to a coach or a coordinator or the head coach or GM, somebody, and certainly players as well, and you get an insight, particularly when you talk to the coaching staff about, for the first time and maybe the only time during the regular season, did you get a chance to see what they think about these guys? And Hollins was the subject of a question that was given to Joe Brady today, and Brady had nothing but glowing things to say about Mack Hollins, about the difference he's made, not only in Joe Brady's personal life and the way he does things, the way this Hollins thing. And we talked to Josh Allen. You'll hear his sound in a minute. We asked him about Mack Hollins as well. Hollins is a unique dude, and he has made a difference for these guys. And it's one of those things you start to find out more and more about why Mack Hollins was sought after by the Bills, and some of the cool stuff about him. But seeing him on the field, they signed him because he's a ball player, and all this other stuff is bonus.
Yeah, and we didn't see a lot from Curtis Samuel yesterday during the low red zone period, but between the 20s, this guy's going to make a difference. And suffice it to say, that guy's lining up everywhere.
Yeah.
You talk about all these guys, in the receiving core that are going to line up in multiple spots. I don't know if anybody's going to line up in as many places as Curtis Samuel. And this goes back to the familiarity that Joe Brady already has with Curtis Samuel, having coached him for a season and a half in Carolina. Yeah. And we've already mentioned that the best season of Curtis Samuel's career was in 2020 under Joe Brady. So I think he knows how to deploy him as a weapon, the many different ways in which he can use him as a weapon. We saw some of that today, and he was productive. Josh was looking for him.
Yeah, there's no question. Joe Brady likes what Curtis Samuel brings to the table. And there's no question either that when they were going out in free agency is what kind of guys you like. Joe Brady, no question. I don't know this for a fact, but my opinion says to me that Joe Brady was pounding the table for Curtis Samuel because of this stuff. He can do this and this and this really well. You can use him in your offense like this and like this and like this other thing. Joe Brady had to have a big voice in why Curtis Samuel is a Buffalo Bill, and we're seeing it, the evidence of that. We saw it today in practice. Guys everywhere. So it was pretty cool to see.
Now, to shine some light on the defense a little bit, we did see some good pass rush reps from a couple of outside guys. DeJuan Smoot and your boy Javon Solomon had quote-unquote sacks on team plays. Solomon blew the doors off of a right tackle and would have gotten in for a would-be sack. Obviously, they blow the whistle. Quarterbacks aren't touched. And then Smoot got around the right side and was able to shake Deion Dawkins off of him, and he got in, and the whistle blew for what would have been a sack there. And then we saw Kaiir Elam pop up he had a fumble recovery. Keon Coleman got the ball punched out, and Elam hopped on the football for a fumble recovery today. That was good to see in terms of ball awareness. You got a high five from Coach McDermott on that play. And then later in practice, Corey Couch, one of the undrafted rookie corners, had a nice pass breakup on a seam ball down the middle of the field. And this is a kid who has caught my eye in the spring practices, and then here he flashes again today. And so I'm interested to see where that goes. As we know, Steve, basically beyond Rasul Douglas, Christian Benford, Kyer Elam, and Jamarcus Ingram, it's virtual unknowns there. You're talking about Keni-H Lovely, to Corey Couch, and
H Lovely.
Well, yeah, but I guess he pronounces it Keni-H Lovely. I don't know why.
Dash H. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I've been trying to track him down to completely confirm that, but that's how I heard it's pronounced. We'll see what he says, because I got to go to the source on that one.
It's a headline.
Because the letters that you see don't make sense with the pronunciation.
That's right. It's a headline that writes itself. A lovely interception. Kind of thing. Yeah,
but
awesome.
I think to Corey Couch is on a good early track here, where if they decide, we need to keep 5
corners,
extra, outside corners, or even, well, I'm not going to say where he's lining up because we're kind of limited in what we can say, but he's got some versatility to his game that I think could be appealing. So it's going to be interesting because, what is Cam Lewis going to be considered? Is he going to just be considered a jack of all trades defensive back? Fall into that athlete category because he can play nickel corner and he can play safety. And does he count towards the safety total or the corner total? So these are the mixing and matching of numbers that the coaches often have to do. But I like what I've seen early on from Corey Couch. So a guy to keep an eye on, number 33 in your program. And that's kind of where I came down on today's practice.